Thank you for coming. Stephen Hawking recently came out and said he wasn't sure about the black hole theory and whether they existed, and that brought out all the right-wing loonies and their comments about science. And I had to write this down only because I couldn't believe it myself, but a representative from Texas, Lamar Smith,
oh yeah,
who's the chairman of the House Science Committee, and I'm quoting this: "Going forward, members of the House Science Committee will do our best to avoid listening to scientists." This is the chairman of the House Science Committee. So this guy gets elected in a congressional district in Texas and makes a decision for the rest of us Americans on what gets funded and what doesn't. And I was just wondering, I'm sure you have lots of comments on that, but as a member of the National Science Committee and lots of scientists here who know you live and die by grants and endowments, I mean, is there anything that the scientific community can do to push back against?
Well, the scientific community does a lot. First of all, I bet Luke is going to jump in. The other guy on that, and early in the movie, at the very beginning, when Ian McEwan is talking, there's a, I don't know if you came in early enough to see it, but there's another guy speaking about how the evolution and the Big Bang are lies created in the pit of hell. He's also on the House Science Committee.
He was the chairman.
He wasn't the chairman, but he's on that. But Lamar Smith's been the chairman for a while. But it is very unfortunate, and in fact, Lamar Smith is also, a creationist. But the scientific community works very hard, and I've gone to Congress and as members of as a physicist, members of the American Physical Society, to try and work with Congress. And I will say, my personal experience has often given me more faith, because when you go to Congress, you're often talking to the young people who are working for Congress people, and they're really hard-working people, and they're willing to listen. But it is a real problem, and I think we have to, just as we have to create a barrier between church and state, we have to create a barrier between politics and science, and that barrier, and that's one of the reasons I, have gotten involved in that debate for a long time, because it was really bad during the Bush years, but there's still issues during the Obama years where politicians get in the way of scientists just giving information. And in democracy, we don't want scientists to be leaders, we don't want scientists to make the decisions, but what we have to do is, if you're going to make sound public policy, it has to be based on empirical evidence. And so it's the obligation of the scientific community to provide that evidence. It's the obligation for them to provide it to the politicians as well as to the public, so you can make informed decisions. Otherwise, a democracy doesn't work. And we have to speak out very strongly and there are times when politicians then, like those guys, get in the way of science. For the most part, they're preaching, I think, to their choir. When Lamar Smith speaks, I think he's preaching to the people who are electing him, and he doesn't infringe so you got to understand what politicians are doing. They're two-faced for a reason.